Hey everybody, we're back with episode number 2, 40% BS. How you feeling, Spencer?
Man, I'm doing good. Episode 2, episode 1 was fire. About to get things going. How about yourself? How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I mean, I've been waiting for this day for 6 months. Not the episode. I love the episode. I didn't even know that was going to come 6 months ago. What I did know is that NFL football was going to kick off today. That's purely what our episode's going to be about. Just our preview for the whole NFL season, kind of just breaking down guesses. You ready?
Yeah, let's hit it.
All right. So first division I'm going to go with is AFC North. For the AFC North, I don't have the Browns because Deshaun is missing for too long, so I can't choose Cleveland because of that. I don't have the Steelers because they don't have a true QB1. Yes, Mitch is the starter as of right now, but I don't like locker rooms where there's confusion and not a main QB. And then the surprising one, I don't have the Bengals. It's super scary to try to win a conference like back-to-back years. And then just overall, I just think that Baltimore is really going to come out through with the edge. Who do you have winning the AFC North?
It's crazy. Hey, this is the first thing. We agree on this fully. I am all over the Ravens this year. I even put a bet in for them to win the Super Bowl this year. I think it was plus 1,600 or something crazy. So I even have them going there. Not saying they might make it there or anything, but they're winning this division. I think the Bengals have an off year. I'm not saying that last year was a fluke, but I think they show some regression this year. And like I said earlier, Lamar is on a contract season, and he did tweet out earlier saying that if he doesn't get one contract by Friday, he's not going to sign during the year, so he's going to hold off then. But this is a year for him to prove himself. They got J.K. Dobbins in the backfield, and just a lot of good things that are coming together. But like you said, the Browns, not on them with Deshaun Watson. You don't really know what's going to happen. And the Steelers, you don't really know what's going to happen with them either. I mean, you have Pickett that could be starting after week 2, week 3, and then kind of see what happens from there on. But yeah, I'm all over the Ravens in this division.
Yeah, what really impressed me about Baltimore is just the fact that last year, at one point, they were 8-3 before the injury bug caught them, but they even got the injury bug in the offseason. 8-3, Lamar gets hurt, season's pretty much over, but they had a lot of more injuries they were dealing with. They didn't make any big noise in the offseason, but what they did do is, yeah, they lost Hollywood Brown, but they're returning Gus Edwards, Marlon Humphrey, J.K. Dobbins, Moses. They added Moses and Lindenbaum, who was Lindenbaum, I'm pretty sure was an All-American too, over there at center. And then defensively too, Kyle Hamilton. I don't love Notre Dame, but I love Kyle Hamilton. I think a 6'4" safety is just an absolute beast. Rashad Bateman's going to have a breakout year, in my opinion. And when Lamar is healthy, every single year the Ravens has won the playoffs. So, I mean, at least made it to the playoffs when he's healthy. So, and I assume he's going to be healthy. I don't see why the Ravens don't take it this year.
No, I love it. I'm even looking at their first game against the Jets already. It's one of my biggest bets of the weekend. I got him earlier at minus 6.5, so I'm all over that. I actually wish that Zach Wilson was playing because he's injured and coming off a lot of weeks of not even playing at all, not even practicing. But they're going to start Joe Flacco, which, it's Joe Flacco playing against his former team. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm still all over the Ravens at minus 6.5. So, yeah, that's probably my best bet of the NFL weekend with NFL Week 1 starting. Here we go.
Yeah. All right. Transitioning to the Jets division, the AFC East, Jets, Patriots, Dolphins, Bills. Who do you have coming out, and what's something you kind of expect from each team?
I got to roll with the Bills here. I see them as a Super Bowl contender, probably the favorite to win the AFC as of now. But there's just a lot of question marks that are in the rest of the AFC East. You don't know what the Patriots are going to do. You really don't know what the Dolphins are going to do, although they have Tua and now Tyreek Hill. So maybe their Dolphins are probably the second best in that division. And then really with the New York Jets, they are the worst team in the NFL. You really don't know what you're going to get out of them day in and day out. They could put up 20 points one day and they could lay a goose egg the next. So this is kind of a really division where it's up to the Buffalo Bills, and whoever can chase the Buffalo Bills might have a chance. But, I mean, I see them winning 12 games in the regular season. I just don't see anyone competing with them.
I'm completely with you. I don't even think it's just the AFC East who has to chase the Buffalo Bills. I feel like it's the entire AFC, if not the entire NFL. I think they're going to be absolutely electric. For the Jets, I love Elijah Moore. I just wanted to come out and say that. If anybody sees this and he somehow trade for him in fantasy, I think he's going to have a breakout year. I just thought Zach Wilson struggled to get him the ball last year. I think Elijah Moore is very, very good. Patriots, I'm not a Mac Jones guy. I love Bill Belichick. I've never really been a Mac Jones guy. I didn't even like him much at Alabama. I kind of always thought the biggest thing that jumps out with me and Mac Jones is I remember I was watching Alabama Ole Miss and they needed a game-winning drive to like go ahead and like seal the deal. And I was like, okay, this is where Mac Jones shows who he is. I'm pretty sure that entire drive was like Devontae Smith and Najee Harris combining for like 85 yards of just giving it to two people over and over. So I felt like he was kind of a system guy at Alabama, and then he goes to the NFL, joins the Patriots, which is the biggest system of all time. I'm not a big system QB guy. I don't think Mac Jones is going to get it done. I love the Dolphins. I think they could be a playoff team, to be honest. I think Tyreek Hill is going to do something down there. And I like Tehran too, bringing him in on the offensive line. But ultimately, I mean, Buffalo, they added Von Miller, who's a notorious legend, the most electric public speaker I think I've ever heard. When I did the thing with the Super Bowl, James Cook averaged 10 yards per catch at Georgia. And just regardless, you still have Josh Allen, Gabriel Davis, and Stephon Diggs. Anytime you have that type of combination, you have a chance to compete. Even forget Diggs and Davis for a second. If Josh Allen's on your squad, you have a chance to go to the Super Bowl or at least make a run for it. He's never been to one, but I think he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
Exactly. I completely agree.
All right, AFC West. What do you got?
Oh, baby. This is a hard division. I mean, there's I feel like every year the Chargers are favored. And every year ESPN's all over the Chargers. They missed the playoffs last year. I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs. I live in Kansas City now. I got to ride with the team that I'm going for. I'm originally from Omaha, but I moved here 5 years ago. And so I'm riding with the KC team of the Chiefs. So I have a hard time seeing Mahomes doesn't get out of this division again and doesn't win it. You look at the Broncos, you have Russell Wilson. Could he get it done? I really love Courtland Sutton on that team. But really, I don't know if Russell Wilson can get it done on the Broncos. And then you have the Raiders and Derek Carr. I mean, it's an all-around, probably the best top to bottom conference in the National Football League. But I just don't see anyone beating the Chiefs. And after all the years that they've been winning the AFC, I don't know how you can not take them this year.
Well, I can tell you exactly. This will be the first one we disagree on. In terms of the Broncos, I love Courtland Sutton. I also love Jerry Jeudy, man. I think he really isn't a talented player. And I think Drew Lock, kind of similar to Elijah Moore and Zach Wilson. Drew struggled to get him the ball. And I think Russ is going to find Jeudy. I think Judy's going to have a breakout year. Raiders. If the Raiders weren't in this division, because I agree with you, I think it's the toughest one by far. If you put the Raiders somewhere else, I would be talking about them winning another division easily.
Oh, yeah.
I love Devontae Adams. I love Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow. Derek Carr works out with him every offseason. That's an amazing team. But this division is just too tough for them. And then the only other team I have that isn't going to win the division, Kansas City Chiefs. You lost Tyreek. You lost Tyrann. And then there's names like Isaiah Pacheco, Sky Moore, Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju's the only MVS. Juju's the only somewhat proven guy we're looking at that wide receiver core. And I'm just not convinced. I'm not sold, especially with the Chargers. I mean, they're just an electric team. First of all, I have to say, I'm an avid Kansas City Chiefs hater. So any chance I have to go against them, I'm going to. It's just natural. So I'm happy someone could take the throne from them hopefully this year. I mean, also just looking at what Justin Herbert does against the Chiefs, the last 3 games he's played against them, he's 2-1, 273 passing yards per game, 3.5 touchdowns per game, averaging less than an interception per game. He absolutely balls out against the Chiefs, and in order to win the division, you got to take it from the Chiefs. I think he's in position to do that. They added J.C. Jackson. When he returns from injury, that's an all-pro corner. First ballot Hall of Famer joined the defense. Khalil Mack, and he's lining up next to Joey Bosa. Extended Mike Williams, that's your deep threat. Keenan Allen, top 5 wide receiver in the league. Austin Eckler, best receiving back in the NFL. And Justin Herbert, technically the greatest young quarterback in NFL history. He set the record, 69 touchdowns, over 9,000 yards in 2 seasons as a starter. Kid's absolutely electric. And I think this is the year where he finally takes it away from Kansas City. And I can celebrate the Chiefs not accomplishing it. I still make the playoffs, but I'm ready to hate. I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah. One thing I'm ready for in this division, I really want to see the Derek Carr and Devontae Adams being reunited and back to their college days. I'm pretty sure they had one season back in college, but I want to see if they still have that connection and how that's really going to work out, because it was fun. You go from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr. I mean, obviously a step down in QBs, but Derek Carr is still a great quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, they've worked out every single offseason since college. So that connection is there. I think they're
Yes.
really going to do something special.
Yeah.
AFC South. So there's the Texans, the Jaguars, the Titans, and the Colts.
What are your thoughts on it?
All right. So for the Texans, I love Dameon Pierce. I think he's going to be a breakout player. I like Davis Mills a lot. I think he has a good attitude. I like Lovie Smith. This team's probably going to be picking top 3 in the lottery. I'd be shocked if they're not in the running for Bryce Young or CJ Stroud at the end of the year. Texans just aren't as talented enough. They're not going to get it done. The Jaguars, I love them, but that's because they're kind of the Eagles junior. They brought in Doug Peterson to replace Urban Meyer. And Urban Meyer, I'm an Ohio State fan. I can say this too. Urban Meyer might have been the worst head coach in NFL history in that one season. That guy didn't seem like he wanted anything to do with the program. And that's a really tough situation for a guy like Trevor Lawrence being a first-year quarterback, Travis Etienne being a first-year running back, both trying to find their way through the league, and your coach doesn't even fly home with you on the plane. That's an impossible situation. I think Jacksonville is going to surprise a lot of people. They're not good enough to be a playoff team yet, but they are good enough to like maybe upset some people, ruin some parlays, ruin some schedules. Titans, they lost A.J. Brown. I really like Treylon Burke and I like Malik Willis, and I think they'll be great someday. But today is when the Indianapolis Colts win the AFC South. Kills me to say this because the Colts are my second least favorite team, probably behind the Kansas City Chiefs. But overall, I mean, Pittman Jr. had his breakout year last season. I thought he was an absolute beast. Formerly Darius Leonard, now Shaquille Leonard is also a beast. You add in Stephon Gilmore, a lockdown corner at DB. Then you go ahead, Jonathan Taylor. He rushed for 2,000 yards 3 years of college. Then his first year as a feature back in that program, he leads the NFL in rushing yards. Every single time this guy gets the ball, he's been successful probably since birth. I could even think so. Because middle school, high school, whatever, dude's an absolute beast. He led the NFL in rushing yards, like I said, last year. And with a system like Frank Reich, I just don't see it not succeeding. Matt Ryan's a former MVP. Personally, I like Carson Wentz more. But I know Matt Ryan's very capable of leading this offense, and I feel like the Colts are going to win. Barely. This was my least confident pick, but I think they're going to get it done.
You know, this is funny. I agree 100% with you. I am on the Colts this year to win the division. I actually took them in a bet plus 100 to win the division. And I'm actually on the Titans to not make the playoffs, and their under wins at 9.5.
Oh, wow.
So that's a bold take on my end, but I see a lot of regression from Derrick Henry. I think I don't think he's going to be as good as he normally is. Just getting older, and he's more injury prone now. But I see a lot of regression in the Tennessee Titans. But I love the Colts. Like you were saying, everything. I mean, I don't even know what else I can say. You basically touched on everything I could have explained and more. But just to go over those 3 bets, that's who I'm on. I'm riding with the Indianapolis Colts, so we'll see how that one plays off.
What's your thoughts on the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I actually agree with you. So I think they're going to upset a lot of parlays this year. But I also think they're going to be a good team that's going to be covering a lot of their points. Like I'm gonna take them this week, probably with the points. I haven't fully decided on it yet, but I think they're going to be good. I'm excited to see what Travis Etienne has in store for him. I know being hurt last year, I like seeing Clemson win, and so Trevor Lawrence and Travis back together is going to be something special. They've had a connection all of college football, and so I think him coming out of the backfield, I think they're going to try to expose him a lot, catching out of the backfield. And I think that's going to be a strong suit of his. But even running between the tackles, I want to see if his physicality can come up to the NFL, running between the tackles, because I know he can get outside the hash and run there. But I want to see what it's like inside the box. But other than that, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be better this year. You saw him throw a lot of interceptions last year, kind of struggling right away. So you don't really know what's going to happen with him. But I do see a lot of positive regression with him. So
moving forward to the NFC North, I would say, okay, first and foremost, I love Justin Fields. I think he had an excellent preseason. I love Darnell Mooney. I think he's an absolute baller. I actually would go far enough to say I think he's the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL. Just people talk about him like he's a scrub, and he caught for 1,000 yards last year, which isn't easy. Coach Matt, absolute great guy, great defensive mind. Bears are going to be probably horrible, if I'm being honest. I don't see a world where they're great. They have a pretty easy schedule, so maybe they could get it done, but I just didn't feel confident with the offseason moves they made. The Detroit Lions, I know Tunnel Vision Sports based out of Michigan, so a lot of our viewers are coming straight out of Detroit, but my feeling towards them in general is I didn't watch Hard Knocks for a reason. It's because the Eagles are going to crush them this Sunday. It's not even going to be close, not going to be pretty. I like Swift. I like St. Brown. I like Hawkinson. I think Hutchinson's a beast. I think when Williams plays, he's going to be a very good player. And I like what they're building, but I think Hard Knocks confuse some people because I've heard people say they're going to win the division or they're a playoff team. And I just absolutely don't agree. I don't think this is their year, but I think they're building towards something good, and they have a great coaching staff down there. This was the hard one for me. I don't have the Packers winning, and they've won the last 8 out of 11. So it's super hard to bet against a 2-time MVP, but just the fact of the matter is you didn't only lose Devontae Adams. They also lost Marquise Van Slinger, either or. He departed. That wide receiver room lost some depth. I mean, the fact that they asked Aaron Rodgers who his go-to guy would be this year, and he just felt like he even said a lot of the wide receivers in our room are unproven. Then he went on the Pat McAfee show. They gave him a chance to double down to defend his team, his wide receiver core, and be like, oh, well, people might have misconstrued it. And he was like, no, I said that. And he meant it. He stood on it. If he's not confident in his targets, how can I be confident in them? Overall, Minnesota didn't do a lot to move the needle, honestly, last year. Justin Jefferson's a great player overall. I think Dalvin Cook's a great player overall. They didn't do much in the offseason, but the one thing that I do think is underrated is I have a question for you, Spencer. Would you rather have a QB who threw for 34 touchdowns and 14 interceptions or 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions?
7 interceptions. I'll take that all day long. That's Kirk Cousins, baby.
Exactly. And the other guy was Joe Burrow.
I know. I'm all over the Vikings this year. Actually, I placed another bet with them. I'm over 8.5 at -140 on their wins this year. I'm also taking the Lions over at 6.5, but is that plus 100? So you're getting good value there. But I'm on the Vikings this year. They're going to win this division. Aaron Rodgers just hasn't seemed into it even since the offseason. He wasn't sure if he was going to still play in the NFL. Kind of just has been out of the media a little bit, but back in the media when he's trying to comment on his wide receivers. I really don't know who he's going to throw to. There might not even be wide receivers out on the field. They might just be having running backs out there. But really, yeah, I don't see anything else out in this division other than I really want to see Kirk Cousins get it done. A lot of people think he's just an okay quarterback, which, yeah, you could say he's okay, but he needs to win those big games to prove that he's a better NFL quarterback than what you see. He's not going to be a great NFL quarterback, but he needs to take that step from a decent average quarterback to a good quarterback that can get you those wins. A lot of people coming down to the 2-minute warning. Do you want the ball in his hands? Do you feel confident with the ball in his hands? I think this is the year that people say, yeah, we're starting to feel comfortable. You have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. And so I see good things coming for the Vikings. They had a lot of close games last year. And I see them winning this division. Although I don't like the Green Bay Packers and I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, I don't see them winning.
Yeah, I'm surprised we agreed on that one. That's electric. All right, what do you think? What's your thoughts on the New York Giants?
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, do you think Saquon Barkley is going to be healthy the whole year? I don't know if has he been healthy a full year while he's been in the NFL?
Honestly, off the top of my head, and this is sad because I thought he was arguably one of the best college running backs I've ever seen.
That's what I thought too.
The only Saquon stat that ever sticks out for me is I remember in his 3rd year, Josh Allen had more rushing touchdowns than him. And I know that was scrub Josh Allen too. This Josh Allen. And Josh Allen still has more rushing touchdowns than him. And the biggest factor is just that Saquon's not on the field and he's never there.
Yeah. I just don't know what you can do about him. At what point do the New York Giants have to move on at some point in time? I mean, can you keep putting a guy on that you never know if he's going to get hurt or get injured, and then you just are hoping that your backup's going to do well at that point in time. I don't know what you're going to do with them. I don't know. They're right around there with the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are going to do it this year. I actually have the Eagles winning the division. Not sold on Ezekiel Elliott. He's getting older. Dak Prescott, you don't know what's going to happen with them. And even their wide receiver core is really nothing special anymore. You have CeeDee Lamb, who was probably way overvalued last year. And a lot of people were really high on him, but I don't think he's the top NFL wide receiver that a lot of people thought he was going to turn into, which he did look like that in college. I'll say, even myself, I thought he was going to be a great NFL wide receiver and probably like a top 15 as of now, but he's just not there. So
in relation to the Giants, I begged for Coach Brian. I think he's an amazing head coach. He's transformed every quarterback he's ever worked with, but I don't, even that Josh Allen transformation, purely Coach Brian. I don't know if Daniel Jones has that in him.
I just don't see him being the guy.
He's not. I just don't think he's that guy. In terms of Dallas, you can't say they didn't take a step backwards. You lose Randy Gregory. He's an amazing player, and he's gone. Sean Lee, retirement. Mari Cooper leaves. And overall, you just injury bugs too. I'm not a big Dallas guy. In terms of the two teams I do kind of like, I like the Commanders. I feel bad for Brian Robinson, obviously. And overall, I want the Commanders to do kind of well because the shirt, GOAT, number 11, that's Carson Wentz. And that's why the Philadelphia Eagles are winning the NFC East. And I will be bold enough to say, man, if you haven't placed a bet on them to go win, not the division, 10-plus games. Pretty sure our odds are pretty off right now. But let me just break them down because this is my squad, so I got to talk about them. First of all, it's draft day. We bring in A.J. Brown, who is a physical wide receiver who also has caught for 1,000 yards, something none of our wide receivers have done since Deshaun Jackson, I'm pretty sure, in 2013, which is a big gap because most teams have multiple 1,000-yard receivers. We can't even get one. Devontae Smith, I'll forget about him. Jordan Davis, unanimous All-American. That's who we take in the first round. Third round, Nakobe Dean, unanimous All-American, national champion with Jordan Davis. Immediately improving the defense. We add Zach Pascal, excellent red zone target from the Colts. Then we bring back Fletcher Cox, bring back Jason Kelce, two Pro Bowl level guys, personal Hall of Famers for me. Kaiser White, absolute dog, helps build our strength at the linebacker position. Hassan Reddick helps us with our rushing, dog. James Bradbury, high-level DB. Gardner Johnson, high-level DB. And these are all players who I think are going to be a massive key to us, and all of them were brought in during the offseason or returned. I'm not even talking about the players who mainly contributed to the fact that we were a 9-win team last year. We averaged over 30 points per game for the month of December, and we led the NFL in rushing yards, and we lost our playoff game to who? Tom Brady? Of course we did. So, Eagles, I'm telling you, put all in Philly. We're going to get it done this year. I don't think Super Bowl or anything, but I'm believing the hype. I'm pretty excited about them. Probably the most excited I've been for an Eagles team maybe ever, which is sad, but yeah.
No, I love it too. That was another NFL future I took. I took them to win the division at plus 450. Great value on that number. I think they win it too. I don't know why it was as high as 450. I'm sure it's down to probably around 300 now, but I love them. Like you said, all your points. I'm high on them this year. I hope they win the division. I'm a Dallas Cowboys hater, and so that just helps it right there. But yeah.
All right, NFC West. What do you think of the Seattle Seahawks?
Oh boy, I think they're in big trouble. I think they are in big trouble. I think losing Russell Wilson, you saw how that impacted everything, but he was a great quarterback. You can't tell me why he would have fallen off there. I don't know what wide receiver core they're going to go with this year. But really, I don't see them being anything special. I think they're going to be tanking and probably one of the first couple draft picks in the NFL again this year. But yeah, I'm not sold on them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, over the past couple years, if you would have said the name Seattle Seahawks, first three names I'm going to think of, one would be DK. Obviously, he resigned. Good for them in the offseason. Russell Wilson, he's gone. Bobby Wagner, he's gone. Chris Carson, retired, gone. They really lost the foundation of that overall team. And like I said, I agree with you. Give Kenneth Walker the ball. Let's get the kids some reps and then try to get CJ Stroud or Bryce Young and just restart, rebuild.
Yeah, you kind of almost have to restart from the beginning, it seems like. It's funny that you're naming all those names because it just brings me back to them playing the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and it was kind of the highlight. And then since then, it's just kind of been slowly downhill.
Yeah, steady decline. It's tough to see. All right, Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, this is another hard team to talk about. I'm not very high on them. I actually have the Chiefs winning by -6 first week playing the Arizona Cardinals. I just don't know what Kyler Murray can do. I'm not sold on him. Again, he's maybe a decent NFL quarterback, but I don't think he can win the big games. It's interesting that they go on these runs where in the first part of the season they're undefeated, winning 8 games, 9 games, maybe 10. And then the second half of the season, where are the Cardinals? It's like they take a dip every year and they end 10-6 or something after being like 9-2 or whatever they're at. But you've seen the past 2 years, they don't come out and close the season. And so I will not buy a team that doesn't give it all the whole season and finish off how they started. And so that reasoning, I mean, I'll stay away from anything for them this year.
Yeah, exactly. I was looking at their last 7 games, 2-5. At one point, they were 8-0. Exactly what you said. They took a massive decline. DeAndre Hopkins missing the first 6 games of the season due to suspension. And then the other thing, too, that I've never been a fan of, even though I've never had to personally go have the Eagles go through this, I don't feel like teams who go through hard knocks are ever geared to make deep playoff runs or Super Bowl runs. No team that's ever been on hard knocks has. And their mid-season hard knocks team this year, around week 8, aka usually when they collapse, that's when Hard Knocks is going to start covering the Arizona Cardinals. That's when the episodes are going to come out, and I think that's when it's really going to just kind of all blow up for Arizona. Hate to say it, even though I'm from here, but I'm used to seeing it because I'm from here. So,
yeah.
All right, San Francisco 49ers.
I think, there's a lot of tough teams that there's not. I was hoping that Trey Lance would be all that I thought and more, but I don't know, again, if I can fully commit to him. I hope that he does well. You've got Deebo Samuel, who obviously stayed with them this year, which I thought was actually very interesting. You saw on Twitter that he didn't sign a little kid's ball because it had San Francisco logo on it, and now altogether he's staying with San. I just don't know what happened with that. Like Deebo, what went through your mind? It might just be the money that is talking to them or something, but I think that they could pull off. They should be maybe as good as last year, and I could see them making some upsets. But I don't know if Trey Lance is really the guy that you want all in on. I do have a lot of respect for Jimmy Garoppolo, bringing him back, and as the backup, they decided to bring him back. And even knowing that he wasn't going to start, I think it's very you don't see that too often where a quarterback doesn't get named the starter and then wants to stick around and help build the organization up by being the backup. So I think that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you and Mike Shanahan or Kyle Shanahan, I can't remember off the top of my dome, Shanahan either way, have massively in common is they're not sure if Trey Lance is the guy. I would be way more high on the Niners if they didn't bring Jimmy G back. I think it's a bad situation to have him sitting in the locker room. I personally had to watch Carson Wentz go through that, where it's a young quarterback. You want to make sure that is your guy, but it's really hard for it to be his team when anytime he makes a mistake or maybe has an off game, everybody's looking down the bench like, should we maybe get Jimmy some reps? Should we get Jimmy in there? I think the leadership in that locker room is completely divided right now. And they have all the talent in the world, but also George Kittle got injured again. And with him not on the field, they're just not as good of a team. And with Trey Lance not being necessarily the guy, it's hard for me to not believe in San Francisco for this year, especially because last year they were a top 4 team in the NFL at one point when it mattered too, when it came playoff time. But just overall, I think they took a massive step back. I got the Rams winning this division.
Yeah.
Relatively easily too. I
know. It's interesting to see why. I mean, they were talking in an interview, Trey Lance is happy he's back, but I don't know why. Like, why do you – I think it's cool to see that Jimmy G, accepted and came back just from a standpoint of trying to help Trey Lance out. But like you said, if Trey Lance is having a bad game, you look down and there's Jimmy G sitting there who is proven to win NFL games. I mean, he's good enough to start for a team in the NFL.
Yeah, he started Super Bowl team. He's personally, I don't think Jimmy's very good, but I do think he's good enough to get the job done. I think Trey Lance has a way higher ceiling. I think he's a way better player, but I'm not the head coach of the Niners, and the head coach of the Niners seems to clearly not believe so. So I think that's an issue. Moving towards the NFC South, what do you think of the Falcons?
I actually haven't read that much on them this year. I just kind of looking at whole on the just with the NFC South. I have to go with Tom Brady. You can't go with Tom Brady until he retires. That's my thing. So whenever I'm looking at the Buccaneers, yeah, they lose Gronk, but Gronk really didn't do that much last year. Mike Evans, you're always going to have Mike Evans. He's always going to be double teamed at the safety at the high. While Tom Brady's playing, you just can't go against him. He always finds a way to get it done. He'll probably start off the season slow because he knows how long the season is. A lot of the older quarterbacks start doing that, where they kind of start off the season slow. You'll see them start 2-3, 2-4, 2-2, or something around there. And then they start building it on as the season progresses. Because it's not a sprint in the NFL. I mean, you're running a mile and you got to get to the postseason. And when you're in the postseason, you got to start winning a few games. But I can't shy away from Tom Brady at all.
Oh, I 100% agree. In terms of the Falcons, I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a breakout year. I think Drake London's an absolute beast. Panthers, I like Baker's attitude. Hope CMC can stay healthy. That's a guy similar to Saquon when we talk about just being able to stay on the field, just not enough talent in that locker room. Saints are very slept on because that wide receiver room of Chris Olave, who I think is going to make a push for Rookie of the Year if he gets the opportunity to. And then you got Michael Thomas coming back, who at one point was considered the best wide receiver in the NFL. Then you had a veteran like Jarvis Landry, who's back in that Louisiana area where he feels comfortable. I think that's really a lot. And if everything goes perfect for New Orleans and they can put it all together, they'll still be in second place behind Tom Brady. I mean, this is a guy who has won 18 straight division titles at one point. I'm pretty sure he has 20 plus. I kept trying to Google exactly how many division titles came up for Tom Brady. And every single time it literally just said 7 Super Bowls. That speaks so much more. I checked like 10 sites, Spencer. I could not find one that told me his.
Oh my God.
Because every single time I just type in the word Tom Brady title, you're just going to see the fact that he has more Super Bowl than almost any organization in the NFL, if not every organization in the NFL. Guy's a flat out winner. I don't care who's on the field with him. 18 straight division titles. That's older than some freshmen we watched last Saturday. That's the guy. He's going to win the division. The Bucs are going to win the division, and it's going to be light work. So what's your bets? 3 best bets for this weekend?
For NFL wise or college football?
NFL.
Well, like I said earlier, I really do have the Ravens. I love them. Got them early at -6.5 at -120. That's a max play for me. That's probably my best bet of the week 1. As they're playing the Jets. But really tonight's a good game for me as well. I took the Rams +2.5 at -110. I think the Bills are a little bit overvalued in this game. I don't see them getting it done in a close game, and you can't not bet against Super Bowl winners. I mean, they didn't really lose anyone. They only gained some more extra people. And so I got to back them. I also do have the Steelers +6.5, and I have the Lions +4, which goes against all your Eagles with the Lions right there. But those are some of mine. And then I have a teaser that I got in at with Falcons +11.5, Giants +11.5, and Vikings +7.5. I mean, you get the Vikings right away playing Green Bay. I love this game. I think it's going to be a close game and come down the wire. So if I'm taking a 6-point teaser, I love to get the Vikings at 7.5, which is crossing a crucial number of 6 and 7. And so those are my best bets of the weekend for the NFL.
For me, I got to go Steelers-Bengals +6.5. I think the Steelers will cover. To be honest, I think it's going to be a battle. Anytime you get any games in that division, it's really a dogfight. I think the Steelers are going to want to come out hungry and try to punch somebody in the mouth. And I could just see them covering. I could also see the Bengals coming out a little lackadaisical after having a longer season than usual. Mm-hmm. Eagles-Lions. This might be a bias. I don't care. Don't let Hard Knocks fool you. You can put the cameras on, but the only time I care about the cameras is when you're on that field and I got the anthem playing. We're a hard team to beat. We are loaded, and we're coming, and we're not only going to beat you by 3.5. A non-playoff team. I don't even remember when the last time they were in the playoffs. I'm pretty sure Calvin Johnson was in New Jersey. Let's come in, no disrespect to the Lions, because the Eagles are going to do all the disrespect for me. Plus 3.5, get out of here. We're going to easily bet the house on that. That's my number one hammer down. I don't know if I can hammer down, but I'm hammering down that one. I'm going to be really embarrassed if the Eagles don't perform for me. But I'm pretty sure if you compared me not having my team perform for me and Detroit fans not having their team perform for them, I've had a lot more happier nights than they are, and I plan to be happy on Sunday. So, and then the final one, Chiefs Cardinals. I think that it's only it's 5.5 for me on FanDuel.
Did it move to 5.5? It came out at 3 and moved to 6 yesterday. I didn't look at it yet today.
Regardless, I think the Chiefs are going to win by like 7 minimum.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, the biggest thing that jumped out with me about the Arizona Cardinals is I was desperate for football, so I watched a lot of their preseason games. Overall, just Kyler didn't take a snap. That doesn't sit right with me. I know it's just preseason, but how can you truly prepare to be on the field if you don't at least go out for a single snap in preseason? His first real snap is going to be taking the ball, staring down Chris Jones. That's not going to go good for you.
No, that's a bit scary.
Yeah, exactly, especially because he's half his size. So overall, I just don't see the Cardinals making this that good of a game. And it is in Arizona. I think the Chiefs are going to run away with it, and I would hammer those down too as my big 3. And now, personally, my favorite part of the show. I don't know if it's yours, Spencer, or not, but it's time for the wheel. Let's get it going.
Get after it.
All right. So there's 2 different. I did not realize to block the entirety of my screen. All right, here we go. So for the NFL special one, I did make it only NFL type scenarios. So I included the OG ones, but then I just added some couple ones to the end, and let's see what we land on. Okay. 2010 NFL players. All right. And then now for the topic. I could make a mean starting 5 with some of these. Oh, okay. I like this a lot, actually. All right. So if you had to go chill, get a drink with, maybe just talk it up, have a good time with 3 NFL players who are 2010 guys, not guys who are like I guess one who wouldn't count would be like,
Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady. He's like too transitional. He's everywhere. All right, we can go back and forth. You chose first last time, so I'm going to choose first this time. First overall pick in the have a drink with this person draft, and I think they count, even though they recently retired. Majority of their career took place in the 2010s. I think Gronk would be so fun.
Oh, yeah.
That's got to be number 1 for me personally. He chose the University of Arizona, and I remember this, and I don't know why the U of A just doesn't advertise this because, first of all, Gronk has to be the best football player in the history of their program. They asked him, why would you go to the University of Arizona over places like Ohio State or Florida? Because those are like dominant powerhouses at the time. And he was like, you ever been to a University of Arizona pool party? You got your answer. That's a guy I would want to grab a drink with. I feel like Gronk will be electric. That's got to be my first pick.
Yeah. I would have to say I might go with Dez Bryant.
Ooh.
I think I'd want to go with Dez Bryant and kind of see his character. I kind of like guys that have a kind of a flamboyant personality and kind of not are full of themselves, but very confident. As you guys know, I'm a huge Draymond Green fan, and so Dez Bryant is just kind of just a Draymond Green, but in the NFL. But I would like to just talk with him. Obviously, it wouldn't be a whole lot of talking, but it'd just be more questions asking, and he'd probably have a lot to say. So it'd be one guy I really want to talk with.
All right, then my second guy, who I think would be fun to grab a drink with, I got to go with Marshawn Lynch, bro. That came to me. I was going to choose somebody else, and I just thought about it, and I was like, he was a guy who he took a shot of Hennessy before every NFL game he's ever played in.
Yeah.
Just automatic beast mode. He's most funny, super entertaining. He had that little TV show where he went around and just did random stuff because it doesn't matter what he's doing. He's Marshawn Lynch. He's hilarious. I think I'd have a great time and enjoy myself the entire time. So I got to go with Marshawn as my second guy.
Yeah, I think with my second guy, I might have to go with Richard Sherman.
Ooh.
And the reason why I want to go with Richard Sherman is I kind of would want to ask a lot about how they prepared for Tom Brady all the years that they were playing him, and kind of what it felt like to lose the Super Bowl on that type of play where Malcolm Butler intercepted. But I mean, you remember he was one of the best. He was the best defensive back in the league for quite some time. So I kind of just want to get his take on how the NFL was to him, what he liked and disliked. But yeah, I would really love talking to him.
And then the third guy, I just feel like I have to choose him. One, because he's a staple to Arizona. He used to live here for a little bit. And two, I don't feel like I could choose to have a drink with an NFL player. This guy did a lot of things wrong in his career, to be honest. And in any other category, the chances of me choosing him are probably the same chances of any of these NFL players choosing me. But if I got to grab a drink with an NFL player, it's got to be Johnny Football. His career took place during 2010s because it was short, but he got kicked out of the league for grabbing drinks. I feel like Johnny has some electric stories to tell. I mean, I couldn't even imagine being the youngest Heisman Trophy winner in history in Aggie Station. I mean, Aggieville, I'm not sure which one. Either way, I mean, he went to Vegas instead of going to a Cleveland Browns game. That guy just has some stories. I would love to hear all of them. Plus, if I could somehow put all these guys at a table and it's me, Gronk, Marshawn, and Johnny Manziel, that might be the craziest, most fun night of my life by a mile. So I got to rock with Johnny Football.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Putting the fun in games aside, I might have to go with Peyton Manning.
Oh, I thought of it.
It's a guy that, I mean, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. He was drafted in 1998, but a lot of him was revived when he went to Denver. But I think just the way he would prepare, he's maybe the most prepared quarterback that ever played the game, other than probably Tom Brady. But this dude would study film. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and he was talking on it. And he would watch film until like 3 a.m. And he said when he went to Denver, he just couldn't do that anymore since he started having kids and he had to focus more on being a dad. But he would watch film with his sons. But really, just I want to figure out the way he studied film, especially playing a college sport, like the differences on how the NFL watches film and the attention to detail versus like college basketball film and everything. And so I would just love a guy who's literally focused on the minute details that need to be focused on to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, he's not going to kill you with any type of speed or anything. He's not the most athletic guy, but man, can he get it done. And so I would love to sit down and talk to him. Probably a very inspirational person.
Yeah, that's honestly a great pick. I was close to choosing him, but now that you mentioned it, can I cut somebody?
Yeah.
I'm not going to cut somebody and add Peyton because that's like
some of your honorable mentions.
My honorable mention is now Johnny Manziel because you reminded me of somebody, my favorite podcaster personally. I don't know if it counts as a podcast. Congrats to him for doing College Game Day this week. Pat McAfee, man. He played
Oh, yes.
I feel like that's got to be number one for me, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I love Pat.
I love him too. Probably the one guy that I'll throw in there, which also, two, I guess I'll throw in there. I got to put Adrian Peterson in there. And then Michael Vick. I got to throw him in there as well. And so those are two of my honorable mentions. I would love to talk with both of them. Maybe throw one of them in over Dez Bryant, maybe AP over him. But also you have like LaDainian Tomlinson. I mean, he was a crazy running back on the Chargers back in the day.
Yeah. Arian Foster, low key. I know that's a name that pop up much. The only thing I think I'd be really
Houston, right?
Yeah, Houston. He didn't make much noise after his like later years in the NFL. Because I'm pretty sure nobody's heard the name Arian Foster in like 6 or 7 years. But he has personally, okay, Kanye has my favorite Twitter rants of all time. But my favorite Twitter rant ever from like an athlete had to be Arian Foster sat down, tweeted, "I could beat a wolf in a fight." And then a bunch of people were all commenting and they're just like, bro, like, do you know statistics about wolves? Like, no, you can't. And he has like a 10-tweet thread where he just breaks down how he could beat a one-on-one in a fight. And he's like, first thing he says, like, I have opposable thumbs. I'm used to being hit. All this stuff. I would love to just sit back, spend an afternoon chilling, just hearing his breakdown on what animals he could or could not beat in a fight.
Yeah, I guess the other honorable mention I have, this will probably be the last honorable mention, but Megatron.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Calvin Johnson. I want to see what he was thinking going into games. Like, I'm just going to dominate you. I don't care if you double team me, triple team me. I'm going to get mine over you. Going to get 100 passing yards or 100 receiving yards. But I would love to hear from him. A lot of the guys, just what it was like playing in the league. I mean, a lot of us wish to have the lives like them. And just for a split second, I want to see what it would be like on the field or what they were thinking going in. I know, like, when you're golfing now, they'll have like the match, and when Phil Mickelson will play, he'll take you through what it's like chipping on the green and what he's kind of reading on the green and everything, and what they're kind of thinking going through a whole tournament. I think just sitting down with some of these players and listening on what they were thinking while they were playing and some of how they prepared for a game, and if you're Johnny Manziel, how not to prepare for a game. I mean, just kind of the life of being a superstar and the fame that comes with it. I think that would be so cool to sit down and talk to them about.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's going to do it for us for 40% BS. I'm 30%. Spencer's 10. Not even equaling out, just straight up numbers. Hopefully, our bets will hit. We will start keeping track of these. Spencer knew more specific lines than mine. So if I had to bet, I think he's definitely going to hit more than I am this weekend. Overall, just glad to preview the NFL. Glad to be back for another week. Expect to hear from us. We record every Thursday, and hopefully it'll be out every Thursday. And if not, catch us on your Friday morning drive. Start your weekend out right. Any last things you want to say, Spencer?
No, thanks for listening. And hey, it's football season now, guys. It's finally here. We can all relax now and watch these games on Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays. So have a great weekend.